everybody, welcome back to Sports and Stuff. Your hosts Vince, Ryan, and Will, all together in person. First time doing a episode all in person together. Eric, of course, as always, behind the scenes, producing, helping us give you good content. So we're excited for the March Madness tournament. It's just been unfolded as of probably an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, depending on when you're listening to this. Sunday night here. Really excited to go over the March Madness tournament, the bracket, break down each of the matchups. A lot of good matchups, a lot of interesting matchups, a lot of strengths and weaknesses on both sides of the ball for different teams. You're going to definitely give each other a run for their money as they pursue the ultimate goal of winning a championship. So we're going to go ahead and give you each of our Sports and Stuff ESPN bracket. So we're going to go ahead here and share our screen so we can go through each of the games. All right, we're going to start with the South region. So Texas A&M Corpus Christi against Southern Missouri versus Alabama. Alabama, we all agree, they're the number 1 seed. UMBC is the only team as a number 16 seed to ever beat a 1 seed. So, and Alabama's the number 1 overall seed, so we all like Alabama in this one. All right. Next, we have Maryland against West Virginia. So, guys, what are your all's thoughts on this one? So let's take a look at the matchup here. Maryland being the 8th seed, West Virginia being the 9th seed. So Maryland is superior in assisted turnovers, defense of points per game, field goal percentage on defense, and steals per game. So they have the edge, it looks like, against West Virginia in defense. However, on the offensive side of the ball, West Virginia definitely has the upper hand. They outrank them in free throw percentage, rebounding, offensive rebounding, and a three-point field goal percentage. Even though they both take the same amount of threes, essentially, they're way more efficient when it comes to shooting a three. So what do you guys think? What are some other things you guys have to say?
I guess West Virginia tends to speed the game up a little more when they play, and Maryland likes to play at a snail's pace. So I think Maryland's going to be trying to slow the game down here, but West Virginia just plays a lot better than Maryland out of conference. So I think it's going to be a good matchup for West Virginia. We might see a 9-seed upset here.
What do you think?
I'm honestly going the other way. I think Maryland probably has the edge on this one just because they're a little bit better on defense. I'm not sure the offense is going to make too big of a difference in this first round. I think both teams are pretty bad on the road, so it might be a little bit of an ugly game. Honestly, I think Maryland has enough to come out on top in the end. They are playing in a better conference overall, I think, although just by a bit. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. West Virginia has some good wins this year. I think probably a little better wins than Maryland. So.
Yeah, since there's 3 of us here, majority rules in terms of who's going to move forward, just for the sake of the fact that to keep things going. I personally like Maryland as well. So ironically enough, even though Ryan, the whole regular season, took Maryland, and me and Will did not like Maryland.
It's not a good matchup to take Maryland.
I just think Maryland. I think Maryland's defense is going to suffocate West Virginia. So, and plus, we're in Maryland. Maryland, we have our bias. So we want to see Maryland do well, so we think they're going to advance to the next round. All right, 5-12 matchup here. San Diego State against Charleston. While I'm looking this up, do you guys want to have any initial thoughts?
I know Charleston's stats look really good just because the conference that they played in. I think they might have enough to beat out San Diego State anyway. I guess we'll have to see how they match up.
Yeah. Ryan, what's the strength of schedule? How do they pace the game?
Well, definitely Charleston has a very weak strength of schedule. San Diego, in the Ken Palm rankings, they put them at a 34 adjusted strength of schedule rating. I guess San Diego State plays at a pretty slow pace. Charleston, they play at a much faster pace here, but it's just hard to figure out how this matchup's going to go just with the strength of schedule ratings.
Yeah, if we look at it here, offensive rebounds, Charleston is top 5 in the country, and San Diego State's not even in the top 100. Charleston takes a ton of threes. They're 3rd in the country in attempts. but they're 177th in percentage. Meanwhile, San Diego State's a lot more efficient at 66, but they attempt a lot less threes.
Also, Charleston is pretty good in rebounding, though.
Yeah.
That's another stat to look at because, I mean, that could definitely come from a height advantage they have.
Yeah. And free throws, they're better. Offensive points per game, they're much better. 12 seed versus a 5 seed. I think we all agree, right? 12 seed's the upset here.
Yeah.
I kind of like San Diego State, but
This guy.
we'll go with the majority rule.
This
I
guy.
think it will be coming.
Ryan's bracket. Excuse me, Ryan's bracket to come. All right, next we got Virginia and Furman, 4-13. Virginia's been struggling as of late, and Furman. I said Furman. To be honest with you, I don't know much about Furman, so we're gonna look this up now here.
Well, I guess I could say
Go ahead, Ryan.
Furman is pretty good on offense. I know they're ranked pretty high in the Ken Palm rankings, and Virginia on the other side is pretty good at defense. I think this could be a pretty good matchup here. I still think Virginia might win this game, but I mean Furman does not play well outside of conference.
Yeah, what's the ranking between the two of them playing outside the conference?
Right now, Furman on Ken Palm ranks 233.
Virginia's first in the country in assist-to-turnover ratio. They're 10th in defensive points per game. So their strength is defense, and Furman's is clearly offense.
Yeah.
Rebounding, offensive rebounding, neither of them are that great. Rebounding overall, Furman's definitely got the edge. Free throw percentage, Furman's got the edge. Furman takes a lot more threes, but Virginia's more efficient. Virginia has more blocks per game. This is an interesting matchup because each team has 50-50 strengths to weaknesses. I mean, it's going to be a pretty close game.
Yeah.
I personally like Virginia. I think their defense is going to lock down Furman, and not to mention Furman's out of conference strength is pretty low in the rankings. What do you think, Ryan?
Furman definitely has a low strength of schedule rating. Their adjusted strength of schedule. Virginia doing much better by about 100 on the rankings.
Well, what about you?
I honestly like Furman just because I tend to pick offense over defense. I can definitely see it going the other way and just Virginia blowing them out, just because Furman hasn't really seen anything like them all year.
Yeah.
But I kind of like Furman. Maybe they could be a Cinderella team that can just get hot one night and shoot a bunch of threes and break Virginia down, kind of like UMBC did.
Yeah. So who did you have, Ryan?
Who did I pick here?
Yeah.
Virginia.
All right. Well, Ryan and I have Virginia. So
Okay.
sorry, Will, but I think it's going to be close. I really do think it's going to be close. All right. Creighton, NC State. Ryan's favorite team, Creighton here, 6th seed. Ryan, do you think they should have been ranked higher? Or do you think 6 was
6 is pretty fair.
pretty fair? Okay. All right. So let's look this up.
Creighton's pretty good on defense. They're not the top in defense or the top in offense, but a pretty all-effective team.
How do they rank outside of their conference?
They're 27th on the Ken Palm, so they rank pretty well outside of conference.
What about NC State? While you're looking that up, it's they're pretty evenly matched with assists to turnovers. They don't turn the ball over much. They have a lot of assists. Offensive points per game, they're pretty similar. Creighton's more efficient shooting the ball. They're a lot better free throw shooting team. Rebound overall, they're 44th, but their offensive rebounding, NC State has the edge big time. So that would mean that Creighton has better defensive rebounds overall.
Yeah.
And other than that, I mean,
NC State ranks 307 out of conference in strength of schedule.
All right, well,
they
right
have a
there.
pretty easy schedule.
Right there, I'm going to
according
go
Ken
with
Palm.
right there. That's the deciding factor for me because this seems pretty evenly matched with the stats. So I'm gonna go Creighton here.
Blue
Yeah, I
Jays.
think Creighton's
Blue Jays. Next, we got Baylor against UCSB. I think that's Santa Barbara.
I'm probably going to lose some fans in Santa Barbara, but I'm not even going to open the stats. I'm just gonna take Baylor here.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
think Santa Barbara's got it. Honestly, they can easily beat Baylor.
Let me open the stats here.
Well said. Hold, not so fast. Lee Corso.
Not so fast.
Shout out to Lee Corso. All right, yeah, wow. UC Santa Barbara 7th overall in field goal percentage.
Assist to turnover ratio, they're better than them at.
Yep. Offensive points per game, Baylor has the upper hand. Defensive points per game, UC Santa Barbara. Offensive rebounding, Baylor has a huge advantage. However, the total rebounding margin's a lot closer. Baylor can shoot the three really well. So what's the out of conference strength of schedule ranking wise here? I think that's a Ryan brings an important factor to the table here, kind of deciding some of these closer matchups between two really good schools here.
I mean, Baylor's had one of the third hardest schedules in the entire country. They're used to seeing teams that play incredibly well on offense and defense. So, I mean, that could work to their favor or their disadvantage because, I mean, they could be tired, a little beat up here going against a team who's really feeling themselves coming into this.
Yeah, I like Baylor too. So, again, we we outvote Will here. But, hey, Will might fill out his own bracket and laugh at us when he has.
He probably will.
UCSB.
I mean, I just think that Baylor's really not that good of a team, although they played in the Big 12. And I think looking at like the schedule, strength of schedule, obviously the mid-majors are not going to have as high of a strength of schedule as a team like Baylor who plays in the Big 12. So I think you more have to look at road record and how the teams have been playing recently.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Santa Barbara won by like a couple points and upset Baylor here. All right. Missouri, Utah State. So we're almost done the South here. You go. I know Utah State can shoot the three really well. Yeah, they're fourth overall in the country in three-point field goal percentage.
Utah State's really good at offense, but
they're
Missouri's
terrible
also
at
pretty
defense.
good too. Missouri's also pretty good at offense too, though. But
look at the rebounds. Rebounding margin, Utah State buries them.
Well, Utah State has a little bit of a better overall defense, I think, than Missouri. But the question is Missouri going to be able to just kind of outscore them in a way? I know they're not the best on offense, but they have a really good ranking in steals.
I think the rebounding margin is so significant here. There's similar statistics: offensive points per game, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and threes. I like Utah State in this matchup. I like them as the upset in the 10-7 matchup.
Yeah, I think I kind of like them as well. Just because of all the things that you just said, man. I mean, the three, they can hit really well. I think obviously if you're trying to win into like today's college basketball, you have to hit the three. Missouri also just plays in a tough conference, the SEC, and I know had a pretty tough SEC tournament. So
yeah, I mean the one advantage I will say that they're really good at stealing the ball and creating more possessions. So if Missouri's going to win, they're going to have to be very opportunistic. So again, this is going to be a close one. A lot of these games I don't see being blowouts, which makes great for entertainment value.
I mean, both of these teams are really close in strength of schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, out of conference strength of schedule, it's a world of difference. But if you're just kind of looking overall, they're both pretty evenly matched.
All right, last we got Arizona and Princeton. Now Princeton just burned Ryan and I as we had Yale.
All of us.
Actually, yeah, Will too.
Hey, we all had Yale for some reason.
Well, Yale has won the Ivy League like 7 of the last 8 years, and they were the champions last year.
You can't bet on the nerds. You just got to go Arizona.
And there's the analysis you all have
That's all
wanted to hear. Yep. Okay. So far we have 2 double-digit seeds here advancing. I think that's a pretty good balanced approach here. All right, next we got Alabama and Maryland, round of 32 here.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, this entire section of the bracket is being played in Birmingham, Alabama.
I didn't even know that, but yeah.
It's like,
okay.
So it's going to be a true road game for Maryland, and we all know they're just awful on the road. So yeah, you got to take Alabama here.
Yeah, they are crazy in offensive scoring.
Brandon Miller just so dominant.
And defensively, they're 3rd overall in field goal percentage allowed, 10th in rebounds, 15th in blocks, and 18th in offensive rebounds. Yeah. Alabama's going to dominate Maryland here. I think Alabama will win by like 13. I think we can all agree, right?
I think they'll win by
11. Ryan, you think they'll win by 9?
14?
I don't know.
All right, good analysis there. All right, Charleston versus Virginia. Now, this one's interesting because
You just got to go with Charleston.
yeah, Virginia's just been struggling, man.
They're just not a team you can trust.
Nah.
And really, both teams aren't far apart from both being pretty bad out of conference and their strength of schedule too. So I mean, they're fairly
College of
comparable.
Charleston, dude. Look at this. Charleston is far superior in rebounds, far superior, and in offensive points per game and steals. And they attempt a ton of threes, way more than Virginia does. I think Charleston's going to shoot them out of the gym, and because they can rebound so well, even if they're not great efficient from the 3-point line, they shoot so many threes, they're going to have a lot of second, third, fourth chances.
That's true.
And I think they're going to just overwhelm Virginia
Yeah.
on defense by having so many opportunities on offense.
This definitely isn't like the Virginia team is good, but they're not like as
No.
kind of what they were in the past. Is
Yeah.
someone who could just dominate you.
This is nothing like their championship team.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, it's a little hard to go against Virginia here because I haven't seen Charleston play all that much this year. I know they're pretty good. I know the stats are showing they're pretty good. I'd probably say Charleston here against Virginia. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think they're going to get blown out off Virginia, but Charleston may be able to take it over here. Just how dominant they are on rebounds.
Creighton against Baylor. All right, looking
You
here.
know I'm going to back the Blue Jays.
Oh, I know. I think we can all say that we're going to back the Blue Jays. Will's not high on Baylor to begin with. I like Creighton in this matchup.
High on something.
Let me see.
High on life. Creighton, the only thing that Creighton is worse at is offensive rebounding, but they're way better overall rebounding margin than Baylor.
Yeah, they just play better defense as well.
They do. Baylor has more steals, but Creighton has way more blocks, and they're much better at field goal percentage against for defense. And they're efficient field goal percentage, and they're good at free throws. So I think we all agree, Creighton. Go Blue Jays. Not in baseball, though. It's the Orioles all the way. All right. Utah State, Arizona.
I think Arizona is kind of one of the most underrated teams in college basketball. I mean, both offensively and defensively, I think they're really good.
They broke UCLA's heart
That's true.
last
Mine
second.
too.
All right. So Utah State, assist to turnover ratio, they're evenly matched. Offensive points per game, Arizona's top 5. Utah State's, 28th, so they're not bad. They're both really bad at defense. Well, I take that back. They're both bad at giving up points, but somehow Arizona is like 37th overall in defensive field goal percentage. Free throws, Utah State is 20th versus Arizona 176th. Arizona has the edge on rebounding. Utah State has the edge in 3-point shooting. So Will likes Arizona. I'm still thinking on this. What do you think, Ryan?
I guess Arizona tends to play teams with a really good defense, so kind of matching up against Utah State, I think they're in a good position here to get the win.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I like Arizona's offense.
Well, it doesn't matter what I think. You already posted Arizona, so.
over Utah's offense.
All right.
I mean, Arizona's the better defense.
Alabama, Charleston. Alabama.
Charleston's looking like a Cinderella right now.
Yeah. I think there's Cinderella run-ins here. I mean, they're in Alabama. Exactly. Rebounding margin, they're evenly matched, though. Look at
These
that.
games should still be in
That's gonna be-
Birmingham, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you know?
No.
The Sweet 16 moves.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh.
If you click the eye, it'll show you where they're.
Las
Ooh,
Vegas,
Las Vegas.
which is
Vegas.
even further away from Charleston. So
Okay.
I don't think the home court advantage matters here, but I just think Alabama's the better team. I mean, defensive field goal percentage 3rd to 147th. Rebounds, it's a wash. Field goal attempts, it's a wash. They both take a ton of threes. Wildcats versus Creighton, the Blue Jays. So
I don't know. I mean, Arizona's really good, obviously. Creighton, you've seen kind of falls apart against good teams.
yeah, let's look at some of these trends here.
I kind of look for Creighton's defense to really help them out here. I mean, they really can't outscore Arizona, but they may be able to hold them to a good amount of points.
Yeah,
I mean, Creighton performs a lot better out of conference than Arizona, so that's something else to kind of look at. Both teams have a pretty hard schedule. Creighton with the harder schedule, I think about 8th in the country, adjusted on the Ken Palm rankings.
I like Arizona here, though.
87th.
I like Arizona here. They're offensively, they don't turn the ball over. They're efficient on offense. They don't give up. They don't allow a lot of high percentage shots. They rebound the ball better than Creighton. They have a much better 3-point field goal percentage. And Creighton does outrank them in free throws, but I still like Arizona here. I hate to be boring, but I'm going to have the 1 and the 2 seed.
I mean, when you get to this part, like the Elite Eight, there's not really many.
Yeah.
Alabama, Arizona.
I think Alabama.
No research. We're going to take this one. Yeah, I'm going to take Alabama too. Screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah. Most important matchup. It's all good.
Well, okay, fine. Let me pull up the stats here.
Just somebody was like, "Oh, Bama."
Oh, easy.
There's a lot of meticulous research.
Rebounding margin, they're both pretty evenly matched, but offensively,
defensively, Alabama's way better, and that's what really helps teams progress further and further down the March Madness line.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think
Offensive points per game, they're even. The efficiency is the difference.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're better there, and points per game.
I think their defense is going to change that field.
Blocks is huge. Yeah, I still like Alabama here.
And they're going to get all the rebounds.
Arizona just doesn't really turn the ball over that much, and I don't know, like Alabama's just relied so much on their defense all year. If it breaks down, they don't really have a good way to stop. So I think Arizona is just kind of the more complete.
Okay, you've swayed me. I'll go Arizona.